this point, and that back rear tire has deflated. So
it's working.
The tread is still there, but it is deflated, and then the front right side, the tire is completely missing and now down to the rim. As you mentioned, this has been a slow pursuit. We're just under 20 miles an hour at this point, and recently he was sticking something. He was flashing something out the window. We couldn't quite make out what it was, and then we saw him throw out a bunch of papers, or it might have been like flyers or business cards of some sort. We're not entirely sure. As you mentioned, this be some sort of paper or paper material that he had thrown out the window here just moments ago. We have about 7 black and white units from the LAPD that are directly behind him, as well as the LAPD helicopter that are continuing to track this pursuit. We're in the Sepulveda Pass at this point along Sepulveda Boulevard, parallel with the 405 freeway. So making our way into the Sherman Oaks, Encino area and the San Fernando Valley. We'll see how long he's able to ride on that one rim and how long the tire will stay intact on that right rear side. They may decide to try and spike again and see if they can get rid of the other tires. But for right now, still continuing here through the Sepulveda Pass, coming up on Skirball Center at this point. You can see the driver has been, for the most part, he's been hanging out.
He's chilling. Look at him hanging out the window and shit.
Communicating in some fashion to passing by motorists, as well as the LAPD that are directly behind him. We're hearing this is possibly stolen. You can see it's a tow truck here, very slow speed, and we'll widen out here and show you the squad cars from the LAPD that are directly behind, and we're running parallel with the 405 freeway. We'll pan over here just briefly, and you can see that LAPD is kind of getting ahead there and trying to block traffic to minimize other motorists that could get in the path of this driver. We heard that he had crashed into a car somewhere around Sepulveda and Sunset. That was prior to us getting overhead, but we did hear that radio chatter that he had crashed into a car, but then continued on before hitting that spike strip around Getty Center Drive. And so plenty of traffic here on Sepulveda. However, LAPD doing what they can to block off traffic and give everybody a heads up that this guy is driving a possible stolen tow truck and evading police here. And
hanging out
just a little bit. I can't tell exactly what's in his hand, but it looked like some sort of paper here, and obviously appears to be distraught from what I am seeing here. And we'll see if they are going to set up another spike strip here up ahead. So the heavy car, especially at the rear there, so it would be difficult for them to even attempt to pit. I don't think they would, to be honest with you. I think they'll stick to the strategy of trying to use
Bearcat needs to pit it. What's he doing? On the wrong side of the road.
Try and neutralize the car. Looked like maybe he was going to try and flip around there, but there's just plenty of cars, too many cars there on the southbound side of Sepulveda trying to make their way through the pass. Again, he's already crashed into at least one other car, and we're getting closer and closer to the San Fernando Valley area, but slow speed pursuit here continuing under 20 miles an hour as we start to make our way now into the Encino area. Glenn, sorry about that. Can you repeat the question? Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're getting in position now. Hopefully he makes it all the way through. There he is. Okay. So here comes the truck. We just made it through that tunnel you had mentioned on Sepulveda. So now we're basically on the San Fernando Valley side of Sepulveda, and when we have the opportunity, we'll get around to the passenger side, and we'll take a look at that wheel that's down to the rim, as well as the tire that was deflated in the back, and see if what shape that is in. But black and white units from the LAPD still directly behind him. They have not
help me out with the like button, guys. If again, mode, please, thank you.
As this pursuit has essentially been at low speeds under 25
Slow
miles
speed
an hour or
chase.
so, at least from the
When
time
the tires
that we
popped.
have been watching this pursuit. And
Look at the rim.
There's a look at that wheel that's down to the rim, and you can see the deflated tire in the back of the tow truck. So that's going to obviously, slow him down on even further from, how slow, much slower than what he was already driving. We're not seeing any sparks as of right now. And so again, still slow speeds as we make our way into the Encino area, and with several units directly behind him. And for the most part, thankfully he has chosen to stay on the right side of traffic here and not go into any of the oncoming traffic. So we haven't seen any erratic movement in that respect. And the LAPD helicopter, you can see there, staying overhead and just updating the ground units as to what the location is here. But making our way down the hill on Sepulveda into the Encino area. And so we should be getting closer to the 405 once again. And we'll just see if he stays on the surface streets or if he wants to try and attempt to get onto the freeway. But and now it's picking up a little bit of speed here as he's making his way downhill. So close to 40 miles an hour here around a bend, and surprisingly able to navigate that turn, considering he's down a tire and he's got a flat tire in the back there, and still continuing to speed up here as we make our way down Sepulveda and into the Encino area. And making his way through the curves here. And the fact that truck is so heavy is maybe why he's able to kind of, he's not sliding around so much on the fact that he's just riding on a rim and a flat tire. And we're doing our best here to I was gonna say we're go ahead, Lou.
Still hitting the turns pretty decently. For the tire being stripped off. Where's it going?
Yeah, he certainly could, and hopefully there's some there's enough LAPD units are in the area here that are trying to give drivers a heads up that this car is heavy.
Leo, thank you so much for the 5, man. Hope you're doing good.
Sepulveda, but
thank you.
The fact that there's even black and whites behind him with the lights and sirens going, that's obviously a good heads up for motorists that are making their way past this tow truck. But it looks like he's slowed down just a little bit here to about 30 miles an hour. It looked like he was continuing to, go faster and faster as he was making his way down Sepulveda, and still staying on the right side of the road, which, that's great news. And I'm listening to the radio chatter in the background here, so I got I have more voices in my head than you can imagine, but. So I'm trying to get a heads up. No, just trying to get a heads up as to whether or not they're going to, underneath the 405 freeway here.
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm trying to hear if they are going to lay out another spike strip at some point. But now we're making our way into the Sherman Oaks area, pretty close to the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
Been here most of the day.
And we'll be up at Ventura Boulevard here in just a moment. But still, looking out the window, looking back at the LAPD SWAT cars that are directly behind him. So
he's cruising.
Aside from just being distraught, he's also distracted. And
I don't see it.
Hopefully he doesn't.
He keeps saying he's distraught. He doesn't look distraught to me. He looks very relaxed, having a nice cruise on a Friday. Arm hanging out, windows down, waving at people and shit.
The intersection
excuse me.
The right away, but still just
drives right past the cop.
There as people were trying to make a left turn there.
Mr. Rogers, bro,
so we should be
waving at everybody.
Getting pretty close here to Ventura Boulevard. We're getting into that district, that heavily congested area around
day in the neighborhood.
The Sherman Oaks Galleria. So we're going to have more people out, more people in the crosswalks potentially here as we make our way up to Ventura Boulevard. and he could stay on Sepulveda. Maybe he'll take Ventura Boulevard. We'll see
What's he
here in
gonna
just
do?
a second
Traffic,
as we
yeah.
make our way around the building here. But it looks like he's cutting through traffic here.
There we go.
And he is going to make an eastbound turn onto Ventura Boulevard, which is even busier than Sepulveda Boulevard if he had just stayed on Sepulveda Boulevard here. But now he's kind of riding right in the center
nitrous, right?
median there on the double yellow line. And it almost seems as if he's trying to talk to the other drivers that are on the road there on Ventura Boulevard.
Mr. Todd frolicking.
And we did see
gingerly cruising down the road. Uh-oh. Let me see if the other station has a different view.
Yeah, he certainly was. He's been doing that the whole time that we've been driving. Look at that. He's
hanging out of this bitch. What's wrong with this guy? No hands, Mom.
On the brake pedal at this point, and just kind of rolling on its own. Maybe he's trying to talk to the LAPD that are directly behind him, but clearly has something to say and seems to be kind of ranting, or seem to be somewhat yelling from what we have seen since we got overhead. And now it looks like he might try and flip a U-turn here. So now he's going to go into so the even more traffic, or he's going to stay on the wrong side of the road, which would not be good. And there you and the flat tire there on the passenger side. And there he is talking with the LAPD guys, officers, as he's passing by him. No doubt they will flip around as well. And it's just unfortunate that they aren't able to box him in. And I don't know if that's just because it's such a large vehicle that they...
Wow, he stopped now?
They don't think it would be effective, or
Christina,
the fact that it's such a
good, man. Thank you. Hope you're
area that hopefully they're kind of... Maybe they just hope that he'll kind of get out of this
hanging
area
out the window again,
I don't sort of...
I don't know if he's on something.
Spontaneous moves on this guy to make sure that he doesn't, take off wildly. We haven't heard any chatter whether they believe this person is armed, but that's also obviously something they always have to take into account, is whether or not this person is armed in any fashion. And we're not seeing, based on what we saw just looking in the windows, we didn't see any other passengers.
He's taken off
in the car, and they're saying this is a possible stolen tow truck driver. And frankly, if that was a tow truck driver that showed up to tow my car away, I'd be a little concerned. But anyways,
damn.
This guy,
he's like waving people down.
Appears to be very upset, and he's making his way back towards Sepulveda Boulevard. Just stop and go here along Ventura Boulevard, and hopefully this will give some time for maybe LAPD to get up there in the intersection, and maybe they can stop the cross traffic. Okay, so we got a door open here. Let's see if he is just... But
it's like, why y'all stopping me?
Yeah. Okay, so he got back in. LAPD's on both sides of this truck, based on what I'm hearing. So I can hear them talk about making sure to watch out for their crossfires. That just tells me that there are officers on both sides of this truck, and they want to make sure that officers stay safe in the event that they need to draw their weapon. If he chose to drive right into one of those squad cars, officers officers could decide to open fire, because that is considered assault with a deadly weapon if he decides to use that truck in any way to ram into a squad car here. So LAPD has traffic blocked. They have officers out on foot now behind cover on Ventura Boulevard near Sepulveda Boulevard here in the Sherman Oaks area. And he's got his hands. The suspect, or the person that's been driving this stolen vehicle, is considering getting out of the car here. And hopefully he does so, because that truck is it's becoming more and more immobile. and he's not going to get much further if he continues to drive the truck. So hopefully he's willing to get out of the truck and surrender here before anyone could is hurt from this guy driving this heavy tow truck wildly through the valley. And let me widen out here and just we'll see what we have up ahead of him. And you can see the LAPD has the intersection blocked there at Sepulveda and Ventura Boulevard, and allowing some of that traffic to go through. But for the most part, they do have the majority of that intersection blocked. They obviously don't want people to be driving along Ventura Boulevard at this point. And we'll just watch and see what this man decides to do that's driving this reported stolen tow truck. It's obviously, you can see that he's communicating with the LAPD. LAPD is telling him, get out, show your hands, and they'll have him turn around and probably lay down in the middle of the street there while they take him into custody. And hopefully, we'll see that here in the next few moments. Oh, yeah.
Laura Trump drops rap song with French Montana? Really?
You only know what they show you.
What? Really?
Yeah. So as I'm listening to the radios in the background here, what they're considering at this point is, we could see them put out another spike strip.
He donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
This isn't far from my house. Blocking Ventura is gonna make traffic worse than it already is. Loudly crying confused face.
Uh-oh, hope you don't have to drive out there. Damn.
Ventura. Here, so we're seeing at least 7 right there that are directly behind him, and another 4 or 5 squad cars up ahead of him. So they have him essentially surrounded at this point. The LAPD does, and then maybe they can sneak in a spike strip in front of that truck, and in the event that he tries to take off again.
Oh, what was that?
But for right now, as you said, it's just kind of a standoff.
Did something fall off the vehicle? They threw something?
Trying to negotiate with this person to just walk away from the truck. Maybe throw the keys out. If they can get him to just throw the keys of the truck away, then we know that he's not going to go anywhere, and it's just a matter of him cooperating at some point, or them having to approach the truck and take him out by force. But we'll see. But he's getting further and further out from the truck as the minutes go by here. So we'll see how long this plays out here. But he's not showing any signs of that he potentially has a weapon, at least from what we've seen. Just being very agitated, throwing out articles from the pickup truck into the street during the course of the pursuit. And we'll see if they decide to walk up there and lay down a spike strip, or if they need to bring in a K9 to approach the pickup truck at some point. But you can see the area just getting more and more locked down here. That's the westbound side of Ventura Boulevard, where people are having to flip around as traffic is essentially at a stop here in Sherman Oaks. And so for anybody that is planning to go by the Sherman Oaks Galleria at this point, I would hold off until this concludes, as we're just seeing more and more congestion as far as traffic on the road here on Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda. And we may see additional street closures if this man here wants to continue to refuse orders from the LAPD.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. I was wondering if that was real. He recorded himself escaping.
Yeah, absolutely. that's something that, they're working out the logistics on that right now, I would imagine, but just something they are considering. They'll have to decide on how they want to approach the car, or, sometimes we'll see them, kind of take his attention away from an officer that's trying to approach the car and throw the spike strip down. So we'll just see here if they even need to go to that extent, or if he's willing to throw the keys away from the pickup truck, and then they don't have to worry about trying to box him in or throw down a spike strip. But clearly he has an argument that he's making here, and he's not ready to give up just yet. So right now,
I don't know why this guy's not coming out
along Ventura Boulevard just before Sepulveda. Yeah, and it looks like.
Is he on something?
Let's see here. Almost seems as if those LAPD
What's up,
cars
Kick
got
Rocks?
a
How you
little
doing?
closer here, but could be the perspective. But they are certainly, close enough to communicate with them verbally, and they're giving them those orders and asking them to step away. We're starting to see some people, some pedestrians that are right there on the sidewalk. You can see that are, watching this all go down. Most of them with their cell phones out recording this, and we'll have a story to tell at dinner tonight, I'm sure. But more and more officers still making their way into the area. At some point, they could bring in a canine, or
I wonder if he's on something, or disgruntled, or all of the above. Because normally they're instructed to get out and walk backwards or whatever, drop your keys, and whatever communication's happening, it's just not. So far, it's not working.
It's needed. Yeah, somewhere around the intersection of Santa Monica and Sawtell is what we were hearing, is where this truck might have been
Stu's
stolen,
on?
or at least was where officers had located this car, whether or not it was reported stolen, or if they tried to pull him. If they were looking for this car, we don't know. But maybe he was driving erratic. They ran the plate and it came up as stolen. But somewhere around Santa Monica and Sawtell is where this first kicked off, just after 1 o'clock this morning. Or 1 o'clock this afternoon. So we're looking at about an hour now that this pursuit has been ongoing.
What we can do is I can put two views up, since he has one side, and then if you guys want to listen to Stu, I know people like Stu, I can put his audio on. Well, he has like a different angle.
Yeah, he took his hat off, and he's getting further and further away from that driver door. So hopefully he keeps walking closer and closer.
Stu has the other side.
He's got some sort of paper. He's been holding that. It seems like he's been holding out this same piece of paper out the window since we got over this pursuit earlier.
To go. Seems like a lot of U-turns were made there on Sepulveda Boulevard on those southbound lanes. You can see that there's all those vehicles have cleared, but this group right here, they're kind of stuck in it. And I don't know why they're not trying to make U-turns and just try to get away from here and try to find another way around it. But as it goes for the actual pursuit, the vehicle has stopped that person out of the vehicle, and it looks like he's actually starting to move farther and farther away from the truck, which is a great sign. But again, just kind of slow moving, and they're just taking it one step at a time, literally.
Yeah, it's almost like he's counting money there, or counting something in his hand, looking at papers or something. We had video earlier of him driving really slowly on that disabled tow truck because one of the tires was really bald or on its rim, and he was throwing out money, it looked like, in the air. And at one point did graze or clip another vehicle, as we see earlier video on the right-hand side of your screen as he was trying to maneuver. There he clipped that truck, the cement truck, and lost a side rear view mirror. But that was pretty much moments before this standoff situation right here on Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda. So there you see police officers trying to tell him, hey, move to the side, get away from the tow truck. And there he is talking to them. but at least he's away from that tow truck at this point, Stu.
Definitely. And, you know, it is that moments of calm, moments of reassurance. Those officers are kind of just telling them, hey, look, just walk away from the truck, get a little bit farther away. You know, will they rush him? They could, they might. But again, right now, it's just time. And as long as the officers have time on their side, they always do, they're going to be able to take this guy into custody. A lot of those folks, though, that are sitting there on Ventura Boulevard, they might not have time on their side. I really do feel for a lot of those folks. Hopefully they'll be able to watch us on the app, perhaps. But right now, that suspect getting a little bit farther away from the tow truck every couple of minutes. It's, you know, it's just like the chase itself. It was very slow going. Maybe this just needs a little time to get farther away from the truck. But as soon as they get to a point, they might actually run over there and try to take him into custody. They do that pile-on type of situation, but it does look like he's actually slowly making his way another couple of steps, one step at a time, getting closer to those officers, and that's all they want him to do, get it close enough where they can put the cuffs on him, take him into custody, clear the roadway, and call it a day.
Obviously agitated, arguing or yelling about something, trying to make his case, maybe trying to explain himself. Who knows what he's saying, right? And the mental state and the emotional state of someone like this. So they're trying to deal with this the best as possible. And they're professionals. Again, they're trained. They know what to do. And here it goes.
There we go.
They grabbed the vest.
Glad to see that.
And just really nice and smooth.
Yep.
Yeah, got the cuffs on him. Going to bring this to an end. So this all coming to an end. Hopefully there were no injuries with it before we got here, but it does look like that tow truck is, they're going to clear it. And it seems to be all taken care of. That suspect in custody. Hopefully they have these roadways opened up shortly.
All right, Stu, thank you.
KTLA has a pretty big delay, but there you go. They grabbed him. Peaceful ending. It's Friday, man. It's been kind of lit today, I guess, with the news. I don't know. I don't know what's more jarring to me today. I think the mayor firing that fire chief was just so messed up. I thought that was messed up. I guess time will tell if they actually release that she did something wrong, but I think Mayor Bass is just covering for herself with everything that happened, and she don't want to have any kind of responsibility. She's the fall person. Crazy.
Believed to be in a stolen pickup truck that was being pursued by the LAPD and is now terminated here with a suspect in custody near Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda. And Sky 5 and Rich Prickett. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
No! Well, we got a little chase. We haven't had like a really, really good chase in a while. You know, a chase that's like hours long. A truck, some type of semi-truck where they got to send canines and explosive flashbangs and smoke grenades or whatever. Gas.
Go ahead.
Trump's talking again. Trump is everywhere. Or finished now. Trump is everywhere.
Copy that. One more shot of the plate if you want it.
Oh.
Okay. Thanks, Rick. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's so cool. How do you do that? I think they made something new on YouTube. Maybe it's not available for everybody. Where it's called Community. It says start conversation with mentor pilot. Go to Community. And it's like, it's not just his post, but anybody could post some shit on there. I could see that being a mess on my channel, but let me see. I saw 2 other people post on there. I wonder how that works. I wonder if that's something new. Flying home. So we'll finish the Menendez brothers because that was kind of twisted. I don't know why I didn't think that guy doesn't believe the Menendez brothers. I was like, oh shit. I kind of wish because I grabbed some snacks. I wish I was paying attention to the whole thing. He doesn't buy the story. And he said they switched up their story multiple times. Community. I want to have a community thing, I think. I don't know if that's really a good idea for me, but who knows what these people are going to post on there. Community. I have to check that out sometime. I don't know if that's like a new feature, or maybe I can ask my guy at YouTube. All right, Menendez brothers. Let me see. Where's this thing at? I'm gonna leave that open. Oh, here. Let me mute this. I like having a little back channel. Let me mute that. We'll finish the Menendez brothers. What I was laughing at earlier, though, somebody made this post on Instagram. For the ladies, I guess, or Twitter. Sorry, on Twitter. I guess they took pictures of Luigi in the courtroom. The way Luigi pays attention to everything they're saying. Mashallah. I don't know what shallah means. Mashallah. So they got close-ups. He's wearing a vest. Luigi. He feels like he's on top of the world. Raised 500,000, thousands of people cheering him on and validating his thoughts and his actions. Oh, he's on top of the world. All right, let's finish this.
Sexually abused both of them. The father sexually abused Eric, but the mother sexually abused Lyle. So then you had, as you're aware, the Dr. Oziel tapes, where they didn't believe those tapes would ever be made public. But in those tapes, where Eric had gone to Dr. Oziel because he was suicidal and he needed to tell someone that he had actually killed his parents. At no point in any of those conversations that occur in late 1989 does Eric say that he was sexually abused by his father and that was any reason or played any role in what happened. Lyle, who's also interviewed by Dr. Oziel on tape, doesn't discuss that as well. And with respect to the mother, here's what they told Dr. Oziel. They said that they had killed the mother because they didn't want her to be a witness to the crime. That was reason one. The second reason they killed the mother is they thought that she was leading such a miserable life because the dad was cheating on her.
Wow.
that they basically thought that they were doing her a favor, which was the third reason, which is effectively a mercy killing, whereas Dr. Oziel testified euthanasia as to why they were killing the mother. At no point do they tell Dr. Oziel the father was sexually abusing them and the mother condoned it.
So just to be crystal clear, you're saying that the evidence does not exist that they were sexually abused by either parent?
What I'm saying is that the evidence, to the extent that evidence can include their own testimony, certainly that evidence exists. Eric Menendez testified for 7 days in the second trial in graphic detail, incident by incident, describing the sexual abuse he experienced by his father. Andy Kano talked about a conversation he had when he was 10, not when he was 16, but when he was 10, and Eric was 12 or 13, where Eric was describing that sexual abuse. So if you're asking, was there evidence presented in the trial about it, there certainly was. If you're also asking me, has new additional evidence come out about that beyond the Andy Kano letter? There is none, or at least it certainly hasn't been discovered by the prosecution and hasn't been presented by the defense. Yes.
Have you tried to authenticate that letter?
We've asked for an original copy. The only way to truly authenticate that letter, there's only 3 ways you can do it. One, you need the original copy, or you need an envelope with a postmark. We've not been presented with the original. We've not been presented with an envelope with a postmark. The second is Eric Menendez. He himself, in a declaration under penalty of perjury, has said that he wrote that letter in December of 1988. And the only third person who could probably authenticate that is Andy Kano, who passed away in 2003.
Mr. Attorney, do you believe that the Menendez brothers should be free?
The question about whether or not the Menendez brothers should be free will ultimately be a court question. Our job is to give the court the information and make the arguments, and particularly, and again, when it comes to the habeas motion, let me just start with the habeas motion, because that's what's teed up here. The Menendezes are asking for a new trial. In a habeas motion, I want to make this clear, you would not get off. You would not get released if you win the habeas motion. You would get a new trial, which is why I've gone through the trial evidence to show you where the new evidence overlaps with where all the voluminous trial evidence already exists. So at the end of the day, with respect to the habeas, you would not get freed in any event, even if you won. And as I said, with respect to this habeas, we believe it should be denied.
Have you just laid out a case, though, that Governor Newsom at least should think twice before he would even consider granting clemency?
I hope what Governor Newsom will do is what we have done. Certainly, we will. If he doesn't already have the 50,000 plus pages of trial transcripts, we'll make that available to him. I hope he speaks to prosecutors, defense attorneys, the Menendez family members. I hope he reviews all the rehabilitation records. Those also are voluminous, but they play in the resentencing motion. The clemency power he has is vast. It's unilateral. He can do it literally today. He could do it tomorrow if he chooses. He could also do nothing. Now, one example, well, that is the power that he has with respect to it. And as I pointed out as well, and this is an interesting aspect of the governor's power. When it comes to resentencing, and let's focus on that for a moment, what you'll have is that there'll be a resentencing hearing at some point. The judge makes the final call there. The judge can keep the sentence as life without parole, or he can change the sentence to life with the possibility of parole. Let me play that out for you for one moment. If the judge, not the prosecutor, not myself, but the judge makes that decision at the hearing, then what will happen is it'll go to the parole board. That's the next stop in the chain of events. The parole board will then have a parole hearing at which Eric and Lyle Menendez will present the reasons why they should get parole. The parole board itself can make one of two choices. It can recommend the granting of parole, or it can recommend denying parole. And then guess who gets the case at that point? The governor. The governor then has 120 days to do one of three things. He can affirm that grant of parole, and they would be released. He can he can modify, or he can actually reverse the grant of parole, and then they will not be released. And there's no appeal at that point. Now, as an example of where the governor has exercised the power to reverse the parole board, I point you to the case of Sirhan Sirhan. Sirhan Sirhan was the assassin of Senator Robert F. Kennedy back in 1968 in Los Angeles. He was originally given the death penalty, but the Supreme Court overturned the death penalty, so he got a life with the possibility of parole sentence. For 40 years and 15 parole hearings, Sirhan Sirhan had his parole turned down by the parole board. But on the 16th hearing in 2021, the parole board for the first time went ahead and granted parole. Then it went to Governor Newsom's desk. He looked at the fact that Sirhan Sirhan had been in jail or in prison for over 50 years. He was in his late 70s. He was in diminishing health. But Sirhan Sirhan had never fully accepted responsibility for the actions that he engaged in. So the governor determined him to be a danger, notwithstanding all other factors, and actually reversed the parole grant for Sirhan Sirhan, who remains in bars today. Yes, right here.
It would seem, just sort of big picture, hearing everything you're laying out right now, it would seem like you are leaning towards not recommending they should be resentenced. Is that fair to say?
So with respect to resentencing, we have not finalized where we're going to end up, because it's not just the trial analysis. It requires an additional substantial analysis on the rehabilitation factors and other factors that are very unique to the resentencing statute. We estimate within the next 2.5 weeks, we'll be filing something at that point, and then we'll make our position very clear. Let me take one in the back. Hold on one sec. Let me take one in the back.
You're essentially saying that the Cano letter is not admissible, and the Rosello declaration is not admissible under the habeas structure. Is that right?
So the Cano letter actually would not be timely because we believe, for as far as Eric Menendez is concerned, it's a letter that wouldn't be discovered after trial, since he wrote it in December of 1988, and the trials were in 93, 95, and 96. As for Lyle Menendez, it would not be admissible because, again, it's an out-of-court statement, not dealing with Lyle's situation, but dealing with Eric's situation. For the Roy Rossello declaration, we're saying that is inadmissible because a declaration about incidents that occurred between Roy Rossello and Jose Menendez in the 1980s that the Menendez brothers didn't know about to the 2020s, we don't believe could influence their state of mind when they actually killed their parents. So it couldn't play a role in self-defense or premeditated murder. Yes.
When it comes to the factors and the assessments that you've outlined today as it relates to the habeas petition, can you elaborate on whether any of those factors and assessments will play into your review of the case when it comes to resentencing and other factors that you would consider?
So yes, we'll certainly look at many of the much of the evidence that we've discussed today as it pertains to the trial. But the resentencing motion goes beyond that. It really focuses as well on rehabilitation. It focuses on other factors that are identified in the resentencing statute. And that requires this additional analysis, which we are in the process of engaging in, and then we will finalize our position within the next 2 to 2.5 weeks. Yes, right next to you. Hold on one sec.
Governor Gavin Newsom has previously said he is waiting for you to review the case before taking a position on potential clemency. So what would you tell him outside of the fact that you want him to review the case? Would you give him your thoughts and opinions?
So I tell him to review, I think it's 88 pages, the 88 pages that we have filed today as a starting point, as well as the voluminous exhibits. When it comes time for resentencing, deal with the rehabilitation aspect. We'll provide Governor Newsom with all that information as well to review. He can find some other source that he wants to review, talk to anyone he wants to talk to add to his database of how he wants to make his decision. But ultimately, the governor, again, he has absolutely unilateral, full power, constitutional power to commute that sentence. He can, and again, he might have the issue coming up on a parole issue if it comes through that path, but the clemency power exists separate and apart from habeas and resentencing. A question over here.
So when it comes to rehabilitation and resentencing, Lyle and Eric just did a podcast. They came on, and it's two angry men. I don't know if you had a chance to hear it, but essentially they talk about their whole rehabilitation process that they've been through, all the work that they're doing with people, all the brutalization that they face behind bars. And I wonder what your thoughts are, because I know you've been into it.
So part of a good amount of the rehabilitation evidence was in the original resentencing motion filed by the prior district attorney. And you can go, it goes on for tens of pages detailing the rehabilitation that both Eric and Lyle Menendez have done over the last 30 plus years while in prison. To the extent, I don't know if they said anything, I have not viewed this podcast beyond what's already in the prison records that are very detailed about what went on in the prison. But again, to the extent that they want to supplement any information that the court's going to have, I'm sure through their counsel they'll do that.
And do you believe that they've been rehabilitated based on all you've looked at?
It's again, in our resentencing position, we will deal with the full scope of our thoughts dealing with rehabilitation in the context of resentencing, because that's what's important. The resentencing statute focuses certainly on rehabilitation, but other factors, and we will make our position known like we've done it here today in the habeas position when we file our papers.
Last question.
Let me take another question back there.
There are many Menendez supporters all over the world who believe that they were sexually molested, and they say they've served more than 30 years. Isn't that enough? They'll obviously be very disappointed after this news conference. What would you like to say about that?
So what I would say again is that there are three different paths that the Menendez case is on right now. This particular path of habeas is a very specific path with very rigorous standards on how you get a new trial. Again, even if they won the habeas motion, they would not get out. They would just get a new trial. And we've gone through it fairly methodically in this press conference, and even more methodically in the informal response we submitted today to explain why we do not believe under these rigorous standards they qualify to get a new trial. Again, much of what they are arguing in this second habeas petition has been already brought forward in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, rejected. So most of the arguments they brought in, other than those two new pieces of evidence, have been rejected by every single court that has heard them. So again, with respect to the habeas petition, I don't know if people understood what was involved with the habeas petition and how very specific and narrow it is, but that's why I've done my best, both in this press conference and in the video that we've put out, to explain how these processes work. Yes, over here.
The previous district attorney wrote letters to Governor Gavin Newsom in support of the brothers' bid for clemency. Would you do the same?
I'll let our filings speak for themselves. So if the governor, and I'm sure that if the governor wants to get a hold of my informal response today, if he wants to get a hold of any pleadings we file in the resentencing case going forward, if he calls me up, I'll be happy to send to him, but they're available publicly. And in fact, we'll put them on our website, da.lacounty.gov, and the governor can access them there.
Have you made a decision yet, even if you're not telling the press?
We have not made a decision on the resentencing issue. We're still in the process of not just analyzing the trial evidence, but analyzing the rehabilitation and all the other evidence that's required in a resentencing motion.
District Attorney, you haven't spoken to the brothers yet, and we know you don't have to. Would you like to?
Again, it's not. The defense counsel has never offered to make the brothers available for me to speak with personally. Whether I speak with them or not, starting with the habeas petition, is irrelevant. Because again, what this focuses on is a very narrow legal standard on whether or not the new evidence, these two new pieces of evidence, meet all those standards I've gone through, warranting a new trial. With the resentencing, again, the Menendezes have put letters already that they have written in connection with the resentencing. We've read those letters. We will be considering those letters as well as all information that the defense has provided. I don't believe actually my speaking with the Menendezes one way or the other would influence what I ultimately come down and do. The record is very voluminous and I believe very complete. Next to yourself.
Do you believe, times have changed and maybe now we have a better understanding of what it's like to process childhood sexual abuse, looking back?
I mean, I think that we've certainly, our abilities to understand it over the last 30 years have certainly improved. But the question back, and this is why I focus on what Leslie Abrahamson said about the role that sexual abuse played at the trial. As she said, sexual abuse does not justify killing your parents. It doesn't that day, and it never will. And that's why I want to make crystal clear. That came from Eric Menendez's counsel in 1993. And so, again, whether or not sexual abuse understandings have improved over the years, certainly as it affects this habeas petition, has no bearing. Yes?
So, in terms of your doubts regarding the sexual abuse defense, just how much will that factor into the resentencing decision, whether or not the brothers were sexually abused?
Again, everything I've said today will certainly be part of what we consider in dealing with the resentencing motion, but we're going to go well beyond this. Today's focus has been on the trial and the evidence presented at the trial. The resentencing motion will consider that, certainly, but they can keep going over the next 35 years beyond that. Let me take one more question.
Sir, any feelings about...
Actually, in the corner there.
In meeting with the Menendez relatives, what are your thoughts on what they've had to tell you? And have you also met with Milton Anderson, Kitty's brother?
So my thoughts about, again, the meetings that I had with the Menendez family members, it lasted approximately 3 hours. Each one of them was invited and did to say to me anything they wanted to say for as long as they wanted to say it. And we sat there, we listened, we took notes, and we understood what they were saying. I then thereafter had a phone call with Milton Anderson. I had never spoken to him personally until that phone call. Had that phone call, I invited him to say whatever he wanted to say, and he did. That forms part of the compendium of evidence that we will consider in the resentencing motion. It actually does not affect one way or the other the habeas petition that we have filed our informal response today. All right. Thank you all very, very much. I very much appreciate it.
Response to the mayor's abrupt firing of Fire Chief Crowley?
No, no response on the Menendez press conference.
Any comment on how the ASAP Rocky trial ended?
And no comment on ASAP Rocky. Today was about the Menendez case. Thank you very much.
If they want to hang out.
Oh, and now I'm sorry. Now we'll have Maria Ramirez speak in Spanish.
All right, that was the end of that. He doesn't buy the stories and stuff. Interesting. We'll see what happens. As far as Mayor Bass, Volkahanik sent me this post. LFAD chief's firing could be overturned by the council. So she has the right to file an appeal within 10 calendar days of removal. She can potentially appeal it. It says the council may reinstate the chief administrative officer by a 2/3 vote of the council. Failure of the council to reinstate the chief administrator during this time period shall constitute a denial of appeal. And LA Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, representing the 7th district, which includes neighborhoods like these other neighborhoods, whatever, issued a statement encouraging Crowley to file an appeal. Crowley remains the most qualified member of the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and she earned her well-deserved appointment as fire chief. I am outraged by the scapegoating revealed in the mayor's actions. I plan to use my authority as a council member to set the record straight, to encourage Chief Crowley to appeal the mayor's baseless termination to the city council. The public deserves a full account of every single leadership failure that has taken place. And I have a feeling this is not the last we will hear from Crowley. I feel like there's going to be more that comes from this. She needs to talk. She needs to speak. Air her out. Air her out. All right. I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna attempt to chill. We'll see what happens. So I'll either probably see you later tonight or I'll see you in 5 minutes. We'll see. I think we're good for now. We covered the chase. What did we do today? We covered the Menendez brothers. Covered a chase, covered Mayor Bass. I don't like what she did. I don't trust her. Covered Mayor Bass. Covered this mass shooting in Kentucky. What else? I know we did more. The mass shooting in Kentucky. I lost a notification, screwing that up. The court appearance, how can I forget? Luigi's court appearance, the manhunt for the Cal Fire captain. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things so far. Okay, all right, that's good. Oh, and 6 with this chase, so 6. JP! S Dubs, thank you guys. Maybe I'll go into the garden, to the balcony, and water the plants like an old man. Anything good to watch, man? By the way, is there anything good? I feel like I've been trying to check out Netflix and just like nothing, man. I don't know what's good at. Is there anything good? There's nothing to watch. Sign in. Hopefully this works. Okay, there we go. Dun. 31 annual Screen Actors Guild Awards. No, why would I care about that? Oh, there's Gabby Petito. I haven't watched Gabby yet. Like I have to prepare myself. I don't know. Something new called Zero Day. Looks interesting, but the first person that I see is this guy, Robert De Niro, and I feel like he's gone deranged. He was good with Gaylord Effers. That was a good movie, most of them. Robert De Niro, I don't know if I could ever look at that guy the same anymore. So there's something called Zero Day. It's #2 TV show. It's a limited series. It says power offline. Planes crashing. All right, I'm in. Planes crashing. Thousands dead. And the message This will happen again amid nation chaos. Can a former president uncover the truth about the current President Trump? Oh, I'm done. I'm kidding. It doesn't say Trump, but it says can a former president uncover the truth? Most of the stuff like you can't watch it normally either. What I've noticed, I don't know if I should even say that. I don't want to. Well, maybe I shouldn't say. Say it to the chat. Oh, okay, Petito documentary. Luigi. Petito, The Pit on Max. I think I have some type of Max because I got that Walmart membership that comes with Paramount. Is that a part of Max? I don't know. I might have Max somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, Missy, a lot of propaganda, a lot of sexual stuff too. Sometimes, like you can't even like turn on Netflix sometimes, and with the kids around, and they keep doing it over and over and over and over. I'm like, man, just get to the point of the show. Like, what the hell? Essie versus Axe Hughes. Check it out. Well, they've got your algorithm dialed in. Yellow Jackets. There's a new season. I didn't finish like the second season. I don't remember where I left off at. I think it was like 2 episodes left. But then I know there's a third season. I actually liked Yellow Jackets. I did like Yellow Jackets. So those are the top picks. Gabby Petito, Zero Day, Cassandra. What is Cassandra? Psychological thriller. A family moves into a vintage smart home and discovers that it's under control of a virtual assistant. That sounds great to me. We'll stop at nothing to keep them there. How to Catch a Killer, Aftermath. I might check out the one with the planes going down to traumatize myself more so I can never fly again. Unless I'm medicated. I'm going to have to look up the reviews though first. Political TV show, TV drama, TV thrillers. Number 1 is Gabby Petito. There's another one that's called The Search for Instagram's Worst Con Artist. It's a 2-episode thing. I feel like I've watched a couple of these con artist shows already. Sweet Magnolias, Dogs Out. I heard Cobra Kai is good. I've never watched it, but it's like 6 seasons in. Trial by Fire. Aftermath. Don't Let Go. Ted 2. They came out. I didn't really watch Ted 1. That's the talking teddy bear. Rambo. They came out with another Rambo? Or is this an old Rambo? When did this Rambo come out? Rambo. You have to watch Rambo. There's nothing good. Oh, I liked Island. I think I watched that one. Is that the Island shit? Island? I think I watched this whole thing. Yes. I liked Island. Island. White Lotus. Let's see. Oh, it's not on Netflix. Maybe it's somewhere else. I have to watch it somewhere else. Oh, yo, Chiba. You watched The Platform? So I saw the first one. Did you know that there's another one? Such a weird... I like watching weird shit like that sometimes. There's The Platform 2. I don't know if you've seen part 2. I don't think part 2 is as good as the first one. It's weird. It is a weird... It was weird and creepy. I don't know. Oh, it's on Max. Okay. Paradise on Hulu. Okay, I think I have a Hulu. Someone's Hulu. I keep hearing about what's the name of that show on Hulu? They keep saying it's good, but it's like, I don't know. Some medieval stuff. I don't know. The Recruit on Netflix. I think I should take a screenshot of the chat. I know I'm going to forget once I hit end. Take a screenshot. Hello? Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay. I never finished Walking Dead either. I got up to like the 9th or 10th season. I gotta finish Walking Dead. There's a new one, like the Aftermath Walking Dead that came out too. The Recruit. What do you think about covering the correction officers that were charged with murder yesterday? I heard about something like that. Isn't there like video? I haven't watched the video yet. Is that the one where like they beat somebody to death? Something like that? It's horrible. I haven't watched it. I have heard of it. I wonder if they did a press conference on it. Landman. Where's that at? Probably on the same thing. Max. So Max has good shows. Devil in the Desert. I'm gonna have to check out what's on Hulu, I guess, then, and Max. I don't normally check those out. More attention needs to be brought to that case. I'll check it out over the weekend. And it doesn't take much to pull it up and cover it. Oh, there was something that was really weird too, man. I don't know if you remember that cover that story in Texas where that lady was drugging men and the reporter died. Well, there was some guy that emailed me. He contacted me the day I covered the stream, and he was like, he's going to do an interview with the news. And so he actually did do an interview with the news. I haven't read it yet. It was like an article. Didn't get that much attention. I had thought about covering that again because then somebody now reached out to me on Instagram, and she told me that her brother, she thinks her brother's a victim and her brother's dead. Her brother, she lives in Canada, but the brother visited in March 2019 and was found dead in his hotel. He visited from Canada on a business trip to New Orleans in March 2019, and they believe that this lady maybe had killed her brother, but they went to the cops, and the cops just like dismissed them. And the other guy that reached out to me that said he was drugged, he was like, he knew it was only a matter of time before this lady started killing people. Like eventually somebody was going to die. So I don't know the name of her brother yet. I'm gonna have to talk with her. But I wanted to kind of find out a little bit about that story where she could tell me. I don't know if she'd come on sometime or we could just get a name and do a live stream. Kind of put it out. I forgot her name. Something Hustler. I started watching The Manifest. I never finished it. I did start watching it. Isn't that like multiple? You said it's a miniseries? Let me see. Oh, no. You know what? I was thinking of the one with superpowers. Oh, no. I watched something called Manifest. I haven't watched The Manifest. Maybe to check that out. Yeah, the Manifest one, the one that's called Manifest, I got to season 3, episode 6. I guess I got tired of it for some reason. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it. I've been kind of like, I was talking to somebody today, and honestly, I think why I'm so paranoid sometimes. I think it's just because of these stories that we cover all the time that it's like ingrained in my head, and so like I start thinking of like it's just like those thoughts of like this, you know, everyday reading and covering murder and every 24/7 murder. Somebody got murdered, somebody got killed, somebody got raped. You know, it's just like. I think like sometimes it's like negative to have that in your head all the time. I'm reading about that all the time, you know. Manifest is fire. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out for now. But thank you so much. Thank you for watching from Mexico. I appreciate that. I'm gonna head out for now. I will catch you guys later. We'll see what happens tonight. It's still early, especially Cali. No, yeah, for sure. Numbers. I definitely won't be able to. I'll watch it for myself. I doubt because YouTube got like more strict. Something like that. I wouldn't be able to show, but I could like tweet it out with a caution for people, or I can post it on Discord too for people to see. Yeah. All right, I'll catch you guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.